The world has a problem. The climate is changing due to the burning of fossil fuels, the shrinking of natural animal habitats, and the poor disposal of plastics. This is a tragedy, and it is very important that we begin to make progress in fixing these pressing issues. But instead of talking about real-world issues, I'm going to talk about these same issues as they pertain to video games, because as I've said before, video games are more important than oxygen. Today, I, Blurbs, would like to take a look back on the odd year that was 2020 and rank 2020's best games based on how environmentally friendly their worlds are. There were a lot of games that came out in 2020, so I'm going to only focus on the ones that matter to me, which are these 5: Doom Eternal, Ghost of Tsushima, Cyberpunk 2077, Animal Crossing, New Horizons, and Among Us. They will be ranked on 3 categories, each being worth 10 points. The categories are environment from a visual standpoint, animal life presence in the game world, and the player's impact on the future of the environment. Because this is Blurbs, I won't be spending much time on any of these games. So if you have any disagreements with anything on my list, then I hate you. Number 5, Doom Eternal. Most of the game takes place in hell, like actual hell, and the other parts of the game take place in an Earth that is overrun with demons and with fire and with death metal, so that's a 1 on the visual environment. There are no animals outside of a ghost demon dog, so that's a 1 for animals, and the Doom Slayer is constantly spitting out bullet shells, lighting stuff on fire, and not disposing of anything in an orderly and friendly way, so that's another 1. Doom ends with the lowest possible score of a 3. Number 4, Cyberpunk 2077. This game has a 7, only 4 points better than a game set in actual hell. It gets a 3 for visual environment because of everything in this world of Cyberpunk seems like it has thrown the ideas of environmental progress out the window. It gets a 1 in animals because there haven't been any animals in the city for over 50 years outside of one cat that shows up to let us know that all the animals have left because of how horribly toxic the city has become from 55 years of environmental neglect. And as for you, you disgust me. But you pick up everybody else's trash, so I'm gonna give you a 3. Number 3, Among Us. 2020's most popular game, and a game that is also not so great on the environment. The game isn't as bad as it seems, like a pretty 1-to-1 level of bad that we currently are in as a society. Actually, come to think of it, that's pretty bad. In visual, it looks okay, and nothing stands out as horribly bad for the environment, so it gets a 5. It also gets a 5 in animals because it has them, but they would be pretty miserable living in the cold vacuum of space with no grass or trees. It gets a 3 in player effect because you blow up asteroids and dump stuff into space and kill people without properly discarding of their corpses. It gets a 13, as would modern day Earth. Number 2, Ghost of Tsushima. Finally, something that is not absolutely horrible on the environment. Well, maybe not actually. While there are moments of beauty and tranquility, there is also large battles laying waste to the beautiful fields and trees of Japan. And for this reason, Ghost of Tsushima gets a 6 in the visual environment category. And while there is an abundance of animals living in peace, there is also many animals killed at the hands of the player and other people within the game. So Animals gets a 5. And all in all, Jin isn't awful on the environment, but he also forgets to discard of his many corpses, so that's a 5 also. So not even Ghost of Tsushima could get a good score, sitting at only 16 out of 30. Number 1, Animal Crossing. Here we go. Finally, a game that is a peaceful island sim. It would have to get a great score. This is what you may think, but Tom Nook's evil corporation has turned this once peaceful island into an island covered in your decorative trash. This game gets a 4 in environment because of all the trash and the constant construction. It gets a 10 in animals because they seem to be thriving, although us humans have turned them into little monsters. And finally, it gets a 3 in player because the player is the reason for the complete reconstruction of this once peaceful and natural island, ending Animal Crossing at a sad 17, the highest score on today's list. Well, now we see not even our video games can spare their environments, and maybe we are just doomed to destroy everything in our paths. 2020 was a bad year in so many ways, but the treatment of its video game environments might be the most egregious and sad way.